Hey, well, today I am going to share an experience I had um, that was really, really weird. Um, so I am recovering from a fracture in my trochanter, and during my recovery, uh, I'm at home and I have home care for uh, let me see, I have home care for 3 hours a day, 3 times a week. So this young lady came, and I know that from the last encounter with her that I had difficulty with talking with her. Like, she didn't seem to understand what I was saying. So what I did was I wrote down where all the ingredients that I needed taken out for an omelet. So when she came in, she asked me, I asked, she asked me, what is an omelet? And I thought she was pulling my leg. So I said, I explained to her that I wanted eggs in an omelet. And she told me, what's an omelet? And I said, I tell you what, just do the eggs the way you know how, but put the spices that I have in them and the cheese. And then I said, I just want a couple of strips of bacon put in the microwave. Hi, everyone who's joined. This is a really weird story. So then, when she went to look for the bacon, she went to my fridge and she took out bread. And she said, is it this? And I went, no, no. And then she took out chicken. And I said, no, it's bacon, like in a package, strips of bacon. And so she put the chicken back. And I said, she looked puzzled. So I said, it's okay. I'm not hungry for bacon. And so, to make a long story short, guys, um, I don't know what she was doing, but she didn't understand me. So I knew that much. And I felt bad, but I just went on talking to my neighbor who was there visiting me. So my neighbor had had a cigarette maybe an hour and a half before she arrived. And we had the whole side of the patio door open, and high winds had blown the cigarette smoke out. So after a half hour of a 3 hour shift, the girl put her coat on and walked out. And we were like, whoa, what happened? When, like, we had no idea that anything was wrong. And the next thing I learned was an hour later, we had to order another coffee because my friend's coffee was wrong. No big deal. And it took an hour for it to come. And next thing we knew, we saw her in the hallway because Sheila went out to get the coffee. And she was walking up and down all the condo hallways. There's like 3 floors and all different like units. And she's been there for the whole 1.5 hours. And we didn't know what was going on. And we just closed the door. Or Sheila did, my friend. And I was like, what is going on? And it was freaking me out. So all I could do was nothing. And then Sheila, my friend, saw her go out the door. She threw her mask and her gloves on the lawn of a condo. And you know you're not supposed to do that. And then she got in her car that she had parked in someone else's spot, and she drove off. And we were like, this is so wild. I don't know what is going on. And so what I did was I waited for Sheila to finish her coffee and go back to her home. And I decided to call the supervisor because I had 2.5 hours of work that or help that had gone and for no reason at all. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, wait. I'm going to say hello to Benny. Hello, Lieber. And oh my gosh, so many people there. Hello, Pedro. Hello, Eduardo. Hello, Venezuela. Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. I just want to finish my story. What's going on? Okay. And so what happened was I called the supervisor and I explained what happened, but I didn't get through explaining it. And she said, she left because you provided an unsafe workplace. Whoa. I was like, what is she talking about? This person couldn't even speak English, and she didn't know what egg omelet was or what turkey bacon was. And I was provided an unsafe workplace. And what the young lady said was that my visitor was smoking and that it was making her vomit. So she had to go out in the halls so she could vomit. Oh my God. That is, you understand that in my condominium, it's a security condominium. So I had reports of her during the time she was in the condo that she was on the main floor, she was on the second floor, she was on the third floor, and she kept going from floor to floor. That's a threat. Everybody finds that a threat, right? It's not something they want, it's their own home. They want no one in their halls that is not invited. So I was freaking out and I couldn't believe she said I provided unsafe workplace because the cigarette was out an hour beforehand. The window was wide open and we had 80-kilometer winds. Um, One moment, I'll have a quick look to see if anyone's saying anything. Hello. Everybody's saying hello. Hi. Hi, everyone. I'll say hi to you after. Anyway, so I just want to finish up my story. The supervisor, I think, valuing their uh, worker, who I think some of them get subsidies. It's a long story, but if you're a certain worker, you get money. The employer gets subsidized for the worker, and they will not chastise them or they will not give them, like, say you did wrong, because they don't want the worker to leave because they got free pay. Anyway, I she ended I ended up that she hung up and said, "Well, that's what happened." That's not what happened. I was so mad about it, and so was my neighbor when I told her that's what she said. She said, "I finished smoking an hour before she came in this place, and the side of the whole unit was out with wind." So upsetting. I couldn't believe it, but hey, that's life today. Don't ever have an accident or an injury because this is what you got to put up with. But I'm fine. I had my day was good. I got my hair dyed. Look, it was like a big dark black skunk stripe down my hair. And Sheila, my friend, that's why she was there. She was there to help me dye my hair. And she did so much work that I offered her a coffee and a donut. And it was so kind of her. So now I'm going to go to you guys and see what you have to say. Benny, hi. Nice to see you again. And Stuart, I'm doing fine, Stuart. Thank you. I remember you. Golden Dean. How Goldine. Hi. Hello there. Well, that's it for the comments. My story is over. I see that you are all leaving my room. What did you think of that, though? I'm interested in seeing if any of you have commentary on. It was a really difficult situation because she couldn't understand what I was saying, and I couldn't seem to understand what she was doing because she never looked mad and she never said, "Oh, I feel sick" or anything. So all I know was what a big mess. No comment from the peanut gallery, hey? Okay. Well, I do think that the person uh didn't like me. I'll tell you that. Even though I tried really hard. I wrote out the food on paper so she could see, like read it, and it didn't even help. I didn't get angry or make fun. I just did my best to say, "Yeah, that was great," when what she made was horrible. It had no taste. So that's it. Do not have an accident. That way, you will never have to deal with this stuff. So I've been here for 11 minutes telling my story to the world that home care is not what it's all racked up to be in Canada. Yeah, we're fortunate to have it, but it can be really problematic. Take care, everyone.